Hi, welcome. This is Nadine Hill from Juggle Mum, and I'm here with Marianne Weeks from Mari's World, and we're talking brand bloggers this week. This is week 6 in our 6-part series, so this is the final one, Mari. Final one.
It seems like yesterday we started, doesn't it?
I know, we've been doing this 6 weeks. It's crazy. But yes, it is. But this is our final one for now. Who knows in the future? But we're talking about taking your brand relationships to the next level, because we've already gone through the hangouts about paid or not paid, disclose or not disclose, and how to get on the radar of brands. And so this one's about taking things up a notch. So let's just discuss, how do we do that, Mari, when we want to take our brand relationship to the next level?
Well, I think the first thing is to create a relationship with the person. So that way, by various emails and various contacts and throwing ideas around between the pair of you, kind of open up a relationship. That way, you're more likely to stay in their mind should something else come up. It's happened a couple of times to me where I've been working with somebody new on a product. They've liked what I've done. There's been a couple of it doesn't necessarily have to be work related, you know, nice sunny day or going here for the weekend. And, oh, I like doing that too. It's, yes, networking, building relationship. And then before you know it, they're like, oh, I've got this new product here, blah, blah, blah. Would you be interested? And, you know, that's, things start snowballing from there. So I just think it's important to nurture the people you're working with.
I'd agree with that. I also think things like following them on social media, paying attention to conversations they might be having. You know, things like, have they just had a baby? Are they going to, you know, Mauritius for the holidays?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And just being part of the general chit chat on social media, it kind of does help you stay forefront in their minds when they're working on something.
And also don't forget that these people move on from companies and they will take their you know, all of their contacts with them. So, you know, if you have got a strong relation with somebody, then they will likely, as they move on somewhere else, take you with them, and you'll discover other brands and other opportunities, which is always very exciting.
Absolutely, it definitely is. And I must admit, having just thought about what we've just said about keeping in touch on social media, I've got a brand relationship that I'm in at the moment, and I've worked with them last year, and I'll be doing some work with them in the coming year. And it's simply from last year's working together, we stayed in touch, and that was all it was. So when they had a thought, we want to do something with bloggers, I was one of the first people they came to, because we've already got that pre-existing relationship. So it's definitely worthwhile staying in touch and just keeping people on your radar and just keeping nurturing them as you move forward.
We're taking that a step forward. Last year, I got in touch with a barbecue company because my husband loves barbecues. He would eat every day of the week out in the garden. You know, if the sun was out, that's it. And I was going to, I approached somebody who didn't have any blogger outreach at all, put my ideas down, and they came back to me and they said, thank you very much. We're not at the moment looking into blogger outreach. But a year later, it's turned up, and they, you know, I've been invited to an event. So, you know, even if things do backfire sometimes, when you take your own initiative, it doesn't necessarily mean it's all gone to waste. It's not all wasted time, because that thought stayed in somebody's mind and they took it further. And when the time came, they did get in touch.
Absolutely. I think it's also key to just recognize that a no doesn't necessarily mean a no never. It could just be a no, not now. And so that's a point just for bloggers not to don't take it personally. You know, we've all had no's. For every yes that we get, I might have had 20 no's. So just to be persistent, but don't like stalk people, but be persistent and just accept that sometimes it's not always going to work out. And hey ho, there are plenty of companies that it will work out with.
Yes, sure. Sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat.
I know, bless you. Well, listen, I tell you what, I'm going to let you recover, and I'll just move on to the next stage. Once you have the brand on board and you're developing the relationship, how can you take that relationship to the next level? Something that I always like to do is try and offer more value where I can. So if I've committed to do one sponsored post with them, for example, or one review of a product, then I will do the one review that I've promised to do, but then I'll probably also think, is this going to look nice visually? Then I'll Instagram it and I'll tag them in the Instagram, and then I might tweet about it a bit later on. So I'd spread the communication out over several days. So it's not always just one hit and that's it. I try and stagger things. It does mean you have to be organized, because you might think, oh, well, have I tweeted that yet or not? So just keeping a tag on what activity you're doing, which is why it's quite useful to have something like a blogger book where you can just do a tick. Yes, I've Instagrammed it. Yes, I've tweeted it. And then you know that you've hit all of these points. But I try and give a little bit extra that they're not expecting. So one example is recently I've been working with a company who are helping me with my home office makeover. They've supplied some paints and some wallpaper, and I will be showcasing the results very soon. I'm currently in the middle of the decorating phase, yeah, which is exciting. But because my first decorator actually let me down, and I was expecting to have had the post done by now, and I felt bad because the brand knew when to expect the post, and it's not going to come out on time because I was let down by the decorator. So I did another blog post and I weaved a mention of them into that. And so that's a bit extra that they're getting that they weren't expecting, but they're happy. And at least I'm keeping them in the loop as to my progress.
Excellent. Yes, I totally agree with that. And I'd also say, going back to your planner where you're going to tick off what you've done, another idea that I use is Hootsuite. And I will, if I'm particularly pleased with the post, or I particularly want to, showcase a brand properly, I will schedule tweets in over the next month. Now, that doesn't mean to say every day, every 5 minutes, but, if there's mention throughout the month on certain days, so I try and sit down and do that occasionally with my favorite posts. It might be that I've made with products. It could be paint. It could be anything, a toy or a day out or travel. But yes, I like stretching it out into the distance as well. And that makes you more memorable.
It does give extra value though, doesn't it? Because as well as having the post and then they see the post and they think that's great, I'm really happy with it, then they're not expecting a tweet 2 weeks later, or, and it just helps keep you on their radar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. No, it's all good stuff. It's all good. And I can't wait to see your office makeover. That'd be interesting.
It is. Well, it's at the moment, you can see I'm in a slightly different location than I have been on our previous Hangouts. This was the most plain area that I could find in my house at the moment. So hopefully next time I'll be broadcasting to you from a much swankier location.
Yes.
So in terms of adding extra value, are there any other things that you do, Mari, as well as putting your posts in across the month? Do you have any tips for maybe how to get more out of the relationship while you're in it? So how to turn one sponsored post into 2 maybe, or how to just really deepen that relationship with the PR?
I think with sponsored posts, it's a different kettle of fish. I get approached by somebody, they will offer X amount of money. We will work together on disclosure on everything. And if they're happy when I send the link through, I will mention, it's been lovely working with you. I really hope we can again. And often it will come back later, but I find that these people are the ones who call the tricks, and they look where they want to put their posts. And that's one kind of blogging relationship. The other one is when you're working with a brand and it can be an ongoing situation. Let me try and think of an example. Toys, for example, that come from a huge company. It's good always, being on time, always work to your deadline, even be early, doing more than you're expected to. So the extras that go on Instagram, make note of them, show them, oh, look, I've done this on Instagram, I've done that on Twitter, and here's a little video I did, and it's up on my YouTube channel, and I will hope to promote that too. And that goes into your scheduling, you see. So you stick your YouTube video up every now and then as well.
Absolutely. No, definitely. And I do think it's good to report back to your contact. Yeah. These are all of the things that I've done, because they're obviously busy. They're dealing with a lot of bloggers. They won't have time necessarily to track everything. So you will really stand out if you can send an email back to your contact and say, here's the post I did, here are the 2 Instagrams, here are the Twitter shares, here are the etc., etc. And then it just makes things easier for them to have all the reporting in one place.
Another thing that's happened in my experience is I've done sponsored posts for somebody before, and we worked very, very well together. We've done 2 or 3. And then one evening, she's got in touch and she said, I need this out ASAP, which meant tonight or tomorrow morning, and I've got no budget, but it's for a charity and this and that, and I liked it anyway. And I thought, well, you've pushed some work my way on a couple of occasions. I'm very, very happy to do this for, you know, just to help you out when you need it. I think that also this give and take, this helping each other out in sticky situations goes very much in your favor.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. It's just about being professional at the end of the day, isn't it? It's about, you know, nurturing those relationships and being professional and doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. And if there are outside influences that have prevented you from doing something, at least keeping in touch and keeping people informed. I
also think sometimes an email will land in my inbox and it might be for baby products. Now, I haven't got babies and I don't feel comfortable writing about babies because there's no need for me to do that on my blog. Now, I think it's very important because I see a lot of this on social media. People going off and say, oh my God, what they're sending me baby stuff for? Don't they know my kids are 16? Don't leave it. Don't do that. You know, they're reaching out. They might not know you exactly yet. You know, they might not have looked into how old your children are, but they're trying and they may have other stuff. So just a quick email saying, look, really sorry, can't help you out on this one because it really doesn't fit with my life at the moment. But, you know, do keep me in mind for any further opportunities. Well, that's what we need to do.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's the thing, we don't know every PR and their circumstances and everything, that all the clients that they've got, and likewise they don't always know everything about us, even though we're blogging about it.
No, but they don't have the time. Think about how busy we are. How can they possibly sit down and read your blog from scratch? 6 years of material. You know, they can't.
Having said that, though, actually, Mary, what you just said, I'm always extra impressed when they do contact me and it's clear they have read something.
Yes,
because
it's a compliment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a big compliment. And so we've talked about how we can deepen that relationship. But the last point that I think we wanted to discuss today would be how to obviously get more brand relationships. And the best way to do that is to showcase your achievements. So in my thoughts, I would think, well, I've done a project with a company. They've been happy with what I've produced. I just usually say to them, look, you know, I've enjoyed working with you. Would you mind jotting down a few lines about how you found the relationship? And that way I have testimonials to put on my blog. Do you do anything like that, Mari?
I've done, actually, yes. I'm not sure, because I've had a recent makeover on my blog, if I've got a separate page for testimonials, which goes along with disclosure. So, which is actually brings me to a very good point. If you do want to work about brands, make sure your blog's looking good. Keep your about page to being about your about, and maybe add a page where you've got testimonials and links to various projects that you've worked with. So a PR who is short of time landing on your blog can click and go direct and find the information that they're looking for.
Absolutely.
And they'll look at any testimonials, like you say, that they've got up. So yeah, excellent idea.
And I do think testimonials will give them some sort of confidence that you do know what you're talking about and that other companies have worked with you and everyone's come out of the relationship fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it does show that it's worth it.
When we choose a holiday, you might go on TripAdvisor and you're looking for what people are saying. I think it's exactly the same at the end of the day. People want to see how you've worked and what people thought of your work.
Exactly, absolutely. So testimonials, do get them. If you're in relationships with brands, just take the time just to ask, please, could you just jot me a few notes? So just to sum up, this was our Brand Bloggers session, week 6. Thank you so much for watching with us. We're delighted to have you, and we're signing off now. Take care.
Bye.